Hey guys, what is up? It is Banana, and today I'm going to be going over how to add SFML into Qt Creator. Basically, I know it's been a while for the channel, and before I was doing actually a lot of Unity stuff, a lot of C# stuff, but recently I've started messing around a lot with C++, and a little bit more recently I've been messing around with Qt Creator. Now, why would I want to switch over to C++? Well, namely because it's a lot of fun to make your own engine. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's not practical in any way. It's just good fun. It really is. Obviously, if I want to do any kind of rapid deployment of a game, I'm gonna use Unity or some of the other engines, or I might look into some of the other engines. But overall, making your own game engine is actually a lot of fun. It teaches you a lot of how the back end of an engine should work, how a rendering pipeline works, and all that stuff. So, but basically, what is SFML? SFML stands for the Simple Fast Multimedia Library. Basically, it serves as an OpenGL wrapper for a 2D rendering pipeline. Basically, what that means is, because OpenGL, it's a good library, it's fast, it's a lot better than DirectX in many ways, but I mean, it's just overall better in a lot of ways. And but however, my problem is some things in OpenGL are kind of a pain in the ass, namely texturing 2D objects and loading textures. Both of those are kind of a pain in the ass because, well, OpenGL, as of right now, if you were to just do OpenGL, it's only documented on how to load BMP files. I'm sure maybe somewhere it's documented how to load PNG files, but as of right now, it's really only well documented how to load BMP files. So, in that sense, SFML serves as kind of a wrapper for that, as well as a great introduction to C++. It teaches you a lot of the concepts of pointers and how memory management works and how all that stuff works. And at first, C++ is pretty scary, but it's one of those things where you got to shoot yourself in the foot before you can finally figure out what you're doing. Pointers are a big thing. People may not like pointers at first, but people will then realize that it's one of the most helpful tools in C++. And it's just overall a great language to learn. Definitely not a good first language, but it's a good language to learn. But basically, today from the title of this video, you can tell that today we're going to be learning how to add SFML into Qt Creator. Now, Qt Creator, basically what it is it's a GUI development, it's a GUI development application. Basically, it's a great IDE. It's got some great IntelliSense. It's got a really sleek looking UI, as you can see here, and it's pretty fast. It's got a really good debugger, and Visual Studio's up there too. I would still prefer Visual Studio over Qt Creator. This is just a personal preference, as it does have a virtual file system. With a Visual Studio, however, it's not that hard to add it into Qt Creator. But, that's not the main attraction to Qt Creator. The main attraction to Qt Creator are the Qt libraries. Now, these libraries range everywhere from GUI development to JSON parsers, OpenGL wrappers, and some other stuff. Granted, not a whole lot of good OpenGL wrappers, but they are still there. And, there's a whole lot of potential with this, especially, if you're to combine SFML and Qt Creator, there's a lot of potential for a map editor, per se. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. So you're going to want to head over to the SFML download page. Now there is only one problem. SFML 2.3, for whatever reason, this might just be me. You can run through all the steps. The steps will be all the same. However, 2.3 just doesn't work for me on Qt Creator. It's just one function that refuses to link. However, maybe you guys can run through the steps and it might work just fine for you. However, I know for me it didn't work. So you're going to want to head on over to some of the older versions And you're going to want to download 2.0 because that is the version that I downloaded, and it is the one that works. So whenever you go to download 2.0, you don't want to download any of these. All these you don't want to download. None of them will work for Qt Creator. You're going to want to go down here and download the source code, like so. Now, I obviously have the source code already downloaded, so let's go on into here. Now I have, all kinds of stuff here, but this is where I have this source code downloaded to, SFML 2.0. Now basically what you're going to see is all the source code here. You're going to see the SFML stuff, the networking and socket implementation, all that, but you're not going to want to mess with any of this stuff right now. So what you're going to want to do is open Qt Creator, and you're going to want to go to File. Okay, first of all, actually, you're going to want to make a new project. Now this is going to be important, so just a Qt Widgets application. Alright, and let's just name this Alright, so now it's creating it. Obviously my computer's going to be running a little bit slower thanks to OBS. So now it's going to go ahead and create our application. Alright, we're back. Alright, so now another important thing you're going to want to do is whenever you're selecting your kits, all this stuff is going to be selected for you automatically. Just deselect it all. Alright, that took a while. And the only one you're going to want to selected is your preferred version, the MinGW compiler. Obviously you can have some of these other compilers. I downloaded these. I don't know if I'm ever going to use them, to be honest, but just your preferred version of the MinGW compiler. So when you click next, all this is fine. Add a subproject, no. Alright, so now this is all here. Okay, so now then, what you're going to want to do is just click this. Alright, so you go into debug, build it. And the reason why you're going to want to build it is so that way it'll actually create a folder. And, it'll create a folder where the binaries will actually be read out of the project. So, you can wait for that to be built. So there we go. Alright, so that's built. So whenever we go into... Actually, I'll just open up a new one. I have mine saved under Qt_projects. So YouTube app, it puts a file here, the debug release, but all we care about is build YouTube 5.7 MinGW 32-bit debug. Right? So now what we're going to want to do is then go into release mode, wait for it to be ready, build it. So it'll create the release folders as well. And you can also tell whenever something's being built. Like it just finished, so now when we go back over here, you'll see debug and release, which is great. Now we're done with that. So, next what you're going to want to do is, since you downloaded the source code, which I hope you did, I hope you downloaded the source code for SFML 2.0. If not, you need to go do that. That is an important step to this. So what you're going to want to do now, go ahead and pause the video, download it, Alright, so what you're going to want to do now, open file or project. And you're going to want to go to where you downloaded that source code. Oops. You're going to want to go to where you downloaded that source code. And there's going to be a file called cmakelists.txt. You're going to want to open that. And now it's going to build the library for you here. Files have been built. So basically everything for SFML has been built right into the Qt Creator, the networking bit, the system window, all that stuff has been built here. Alright, so now we're just going to you can just open any random file, socket handler, H file, sure. What you're going to want to do is now go in here, and you're going to want to go into projects. You're going to want to specify a build folder. So I'm going to go and actually, let's just go ahead and make a new folder, YouTube build. Alright, then go in here, new folder, debug, new folder, release, and then new folder, libs. So basically, why I'm building the 3 different folders, debug, release, and libs, basically the reason for that is whenever it builds to debug and it builds to release, for you it might be built under the same name, but they're not going to be the same thing. So if you're going to try to run in a release mode with debug libraries added, it's not going to work very well. So with that done, basically what you're going to want to do is go back into Qt Creator. Actually, go in here, go over here, copy this the address for this, and paste it here. Right, YouTube build. And it's also better actually to not have any spaces in your file path. Otherwise, Qt Creator it just doesn't like it. Don't ask me why. Don't really know. So it's never really a good idea to have any spaces in your folder path. So YouTube _ build. It's a little bit better. I'll just go in here, change that really quick. YouTube _ build / and because this configuration is release, we're going to go into release. Right. So VS includes build release for the build directory for release. We're going to go into debug, paste, change it to the correct directory obviously, /debug, because we're building it in debug mode here. So then with that done, you can go back to the edit bit, and actually you're going to want to go apply configuration changes, go back to edit, and now it'll actually start building it. It'll say it's building it. Okay, I'm still rolling. Kind of scared me. My CPU usage went down. So then now that you're in debug mode, you just build it. And it'll start it's saying it's building here. However, you won't know it's actually fully built until this thing is done. And another fun thing you can do, I guess, so you can go into the debug folder. You can actually watch it being built. So like you go into network, you can actually watch the lib stuff, but actually, well, no, you can't. You have to go into lib. Then you can watch all the stuff being built here. I don't know. I guess I'm just weird. I like watching that stuff being built. Usually it'll obviously build a lot faster, but with OBS running, everything's going to run a little bit slower for me. Just how it is. Alright, so the debug folder has been finished building. So as you can see here, whenever we go to the YouTube_build and the debug and the lib, you can see all this stuff. It'll say libsfml.a. And some of you Visual Studio people might start getting confused here. You know, you might wonder, hey, why does it not say .lib? Basically, the mingw compiler .a files are basically, those are the library files that it reads off of, the mingw compiler. So, excuse me. But basically, this is the equivalent of a .lib file from the mingw compiler. And, ooh, I don't want to open that. So, then you also have the binary files, which you'll see why we had to build the two folders here in a minute. But obviously, rename these to the -d files if it doesn't do it for you already. Obviously, it did do it for me. Not really sure why. I have no idea. So what you're going to want to do is in here where it specifies the deployment method, you want to go in here and switch from debug to release. Now it's going to detect your compiler information. It's going to find the some of the dependencies for SFML. Right, and then it's going to build. It just finished building, and I actually found something out. Whenever you download the source code, it actually comes with the external dependencies built in, so you should actually be clear on that front. But basically, so it's done building now, right? So what we're going to want to do is go to YouTube, build, debug, and we're going to see the libs for debug and the binaries for debug. These are .dlls are the binaries, and the libs are the .a files. And see, this is for debug, and this is for release. Now, going back to the two little files that we built, the debug and release, basically the reason why we had to build the two folders is because we had to put a place for the binaries to be built. Okay, so every time the application runs, it's going to look through most of this stuff. It's going to look through all this stuff, actually. And this is where it's going to like read all of your header files, your .h file, header files, your .cpp files, some of your external resources such as SFML reading an image per se for your SFML game, let's assume. And that's fine, but whenever you link external libraries, you're gonna have to put binaries there to be read for it too. So if we just not hop on over to Google, go over here. So basically, this is the, wish I could know. Guess I'm not gonna know. Alright, so this is the release version, right? So we're gonna want to drop the release binaries in here. So we're gonna grab the lib files, see release lib libraries, right? We're gonna want to grab the lib files, grab the .dll files, the binaries that it's reading off of. Yeah, I actually don't want to drag and drop. What you're gonna want to do is copy, paste the binaries into here, and that's that for the release version. You're gonna want to go back in here, go to the debug folder, go to back to YouTube build, go to debug, go to lib, find the DLLs, copy, paste them into the debug folder, then you're done with that. So now onto why I made the libs folder. Now the reason why I made the libs folder is because Qt Creator, they use this thing called a .pro file to find your libraries, right? So we're gonna have to actually find a place to put all these libraries into one spot. So what we're gonna do is grab all the .a files, just copy and paste them into it. Copy, paste, Oops. Just can't right click today, can I? Right click. Or not. Or it's going to open something. I don't care. So copy all the release files, drop them into the libs folder, paste. So now I'm going to introduce you guys to QMake. What is QMake? Basically, it is how Qt Creator. Now you can just close this. You just go close project SFML and you're done. So you're going to find your file. Basically, here's your main CPP file where it runs your main application, your main window.cpp, where it will actually run the actual main window, your form designer here, back to edit, but then you'll also see your project name.pro. So basically, this right here is how your project is read through the eyes of Qt Creator. Basically, it'll have somewhere defined where Qt, the core and the GUI, and then it checks your version, and then tells you whether or not you should add widgets, your target, template, your files, all that stuff. These are actually all just your file handlers. So now we're going to want to do, and now I'm back. So now what you're going to want to do is tell Qt Creator where some of the include files are. So whenever you download SFML, the source code file, you get the include folder. So basically, from here, you don't want to go any further. This is as far as you want to go. You just want to click on that. Actually, you do want to open this, but this is as far as you want to go. So you're going to want to go up here, copy this system address, go over here. So then what you're going to want to do, this is something I've learned the .pro syntax and all that fun stuff. But basically, so what you want to do is include path plus equals, right? So you're going to add something to the include path, paste that, right? And then what you're going to want to do for another time, for another one, is depend path plus equals, and then you're going to post the same thing again. Actually, made a slight miscalculation. I don't want to put the /SFML. You just want to have the include, and that's it right there, right? So now then here's a little bit where the tricky part comes, and you're going to want to watch my syntax very carefully, because if you don't get this right, you're going to mess it up. So basically what I want to do is go back in here and find where you put the libs, right? So here's where the lib files are. So what you're going to do is copy this, and then libs plus equals, and then now here's where you need to watch out. So then you're going to go -L and then paste your thingy, and then you're going to put a / in front of that. Basically what this -L command says is, it says, hey, this is a folder where you're going to be able to find the libraries, right? This isn't, this, because otherwise it'll read this and it'll say, hey, this isn't a library, this is a folder, this isn't a .a file, this is just a folder. And then it'll give you an error. So next part, and this is a very important step, you're going to want to go config, right, and then put parentheses, and then debug, comma, debug, / release. And then basically what this is saying is, okay, so if out of the two configurations of debug and release, if it's debug, do this. So now what you're going to do is, since we already have the library, like we know where to find the library folder, Now we just need to tell it what libraries to add to the project. So now what you're going to do, and this is another thing that you also have to be very careful about. So it says lib-sfml audio.a, and then -d.a, right? You don't actually want to put that. That is, it's actually a very bad thing to do. So what you're going to do is -l, right? So it'll say, alright, so this little keyword thing starts with library, right? So SFML -audio -d, and you're done, right? So basically this -l command tells it, alright, it has a library prefix and it's a part of a multi-chain little string of libraries. So then you're going to want to add -l SFML -system -d -l SFML -network -d -l SFML -main -d -l SFML -window -d. And I do believe that is it. -l SFML -graphics -d. Alright, and you're done there. So now what you're going to want to do is config release, comma, debug, /release. So basically this is saying, alright, so if the configuration is in release mode, going to want to go in here, copy this, paste it, and just remove the -d. Alright, so then you control save, build, run qmake. Uh-oh. Alright guys, seems like I lied to you. I forgot to mention you actually have to put libs plus equals, then all this stuff here. Alright, so after all this, you should be done. So we can build, run qmake, it saves the file automatically. It's going to build, no errors, thankfully. I'm going to just get this out of my way because, professionals never get errors. Okay, so basically, now you're done. Alright, so SFML is now successfully linked to Qt, and we are going to test this now. So int, this is just, I'm just going to comment this out. Didn't mean to do that. Just not my day for typing. So now we're just going to void main. Right? Most people will complain, hey, it's supposed to be int. And honestly, So now we're just going to go so, important thing, include SFML graphics. So now then SF render window, SF video mode, 800, 600, hello YouTube, I am working. Okay, so then while window dot is open, SF event e, while window dot poly event e, if e.type equals SF event close, window dot close, and then window dot clear, window dot display, and just for some fun, SF rectangle shape, rect dot set position SF vector 2F, just somewhere, rect dot set size SF vector 2F 30 30, rect dot set fill color SF color, just anything lower than 255 will do. But as long as we have full alpha, this is the alpha value, by the way. Alright, and then window dot draw rect. Assuming I did everything right, we're still in the debug configuration. Run it. Be right back. Guys, turns out, well, am I rolling? Yes, I am. Turns out I had a not so working application open in the background. This actually did run. So, and to prove it, we just run it. So it seems like I do have to do a int main. min_gw is just going to complain. So int argc char star arg v array, because we all love those array pointers, and return 0. Now it should run. Unused parameters. Hello YouTube, I am working. Woo! Alright, thanks you guys for bearing with me. This has actually been a well-documented problem. No thanks to anyone on the internet, sadly. I've been able to figure this out. But basically, a good thing about the .profiles, however, is that unlike Visual Studio, you can actually, once you build the libraries, you only have to build them once, pretty much, unless you switch computers. But basically, all you have to do is just copy your .profile. You can copy and paste it to your other Qt projects. And, I mean, then you're done. I mean, you really are. And plus, another good thing is that, SFML, basically, in its external dependencies, in GW 64, it actually has a glue library, a JPEG library, open audio library. But basically, yeah, at this point, you're done. So, you're now free to use SFML. I will be doing more integrating SFML into Qt videos a little bit later, whenever I myself can figure it out. This is something I've only recently figured out, and I just thought, I'd make a video. It's not a really well documented thing that you gotta how to run CMake through Qt Creator, and all that stuff. Because most people, they'll just say, oh, well, you just gotta go libs plus equals blank 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 dot lib. But what they won't tell you is that what libraries you include are actually compiler specific, so you can do the .lib stuff, but that's if you choose the Visual C++ compiler at the beginning of this. And obviously, if you do that, some of the Qt libraries may not work, and that's never good, especially when this whole thing relies on the Qt libraries. Qt itself isn't compiled with the Visual C++ compiler, it's compiled with MinGW. So, just some things to be wary about online. Definitely go spread the word about this. This is not, link this video, copy me if you want. It doesn't matter a whole lot to me. But definitely go spread the word, because this is something that people don't explain a lot, and I'm going to definitely go on forums, see where this problem is happening, and, link them to my video, so that way I can, show them, hey, this is how you fix it, this is how you do it, and all that stuff. But, thanks everyone for bearing with me, and see you all later.